Married at First Sight, season 15, and this was decision day, y'all. And this was the decision day for Krysten and Mitch. And I don't know what did we get, y'all. Did we get a two no's, and then it turned from two no's to a no and a yes, and then it turned from a no and a yes back to a no and a no? What the heck is the decision? But before we get into it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video, because I definitely want to hear what y'all think about the episode. But I'm going to tell you right off the rip, I'm happy Mitch said no to Krysten. I absolutely happy that Mitch said no to Krysten. I know a lot of people are happy about it too, but they're happy about it on the other side, because they believe that Krysten deserves better than Mitch. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think they both have a lot of work to be done. And I think in the beginning, Mitch's work that he needed to have done was way more painfully obvious than Krysten was. But I don't know how anyone cannot see by now just how much work Krysten needs. If you were not convinced that Krysten needs a lot of work, you should have been convinced today, because she needs a lot of work, a lot of it. The one thing about Mitch is, because his flaws were shown so early in the season, he actually had an opportunity to grow and learn and become better. And I'm telling you, I think he did grow and learn and become better. But what happened to Krysten was, because none of her flaws were being shown, and because she was doing such a good job at covering them, Krysten really hasn't grown in any at all. Because even in this episode, you're looking at Krysten, you're saying, what is she doing? Is she not thinking? Hasn't she learned anything? No, she hasn't learned anything, because Krysten is so busy trying to be one person behind closed doors and one person in public, okay, that she doesn't do any growth. It's just like Alexis. It's why Alexis hasn't grown, because Alexis is two different people. She's one person in private and she's another person in public. And this is the same as Krysten. And as a result, because they're never really being who they are, they don't like to expose what their flaws are, which means they don't grow. And what has happened between Mitch and Krysten is that even with all the flaws that Mitch has, and he has a lot of them, the one thing I can say about Mitch is he has grown and he's gotten better. And in this episode, let me tell you, when he said no to her, I'm going to tell you what really happened, or what I think happened. And because Mitch alluded to it, that the night before decision day, I believe Krysten made the statement that she wanted Mitch to be in love with her, to profess his love for her in public. And what Mitch knew was he couldn't be inauthentic and do that. And I think what he decided to do was say, listen, if that's what she wants, she deserves what she wants. And because I can't give it to her, I'm going to say no to her. That's what I believe, because I really do believe that if Krysten hadn't given Mitch that ultimatum, probably the night before and all season long, Mitch would have given it a little bit more time. It still may not have worked out, y'all, but I think he would have given her more time. But I think what Krysten did was she played this hand last night and said, if you don't give me your undying love and attention in public and tell me how much you love me, then I deserve more and I deserve better. This is what she said. And because he didn't praise her in public, he said, I can't do it. I can't be inauthentic. I have to be true to myself. And because I'm not there, I'm going to say no. Because if you listen to what Mitch was saying how he has grown, how he has matured, how he has progressed along this journey. But all the work he had done still wasn't good enough for Krysten. He knew he wasn't where Krysten needed him to be. But what he didn't say was, he didn't say he couldn't get there. But he knew he wasn't there in this moment. And Krysten made it painfully clear that unless he was there in that moment, she didn't want a yes from him. And so what happened was he did exactly what she told him to do. But guess what happened? The minute they get to decision day, she says, yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to say no too. I'm going to choose myself. I'm going to choose myself. I'm going to say no as well. But I want to leave the door open for us to be friends. What? What are you talking about? You know, the one thing the experts got wrong when they were first coming up, they were talking about that they matched these two because these were two people who were more emotionally secure in themselves. And they got that 100% wrong, because really what this was it was two people who were very insecure. And the one thing that I can give Mitch that he admitted to, he admitted that he was insecure. He admitted that he was scared of love. He started to admit that a lot of that stuff on the outside, the way he was speaking to Krysten and the way he was rejecting Krysten, all the stuff he was projecting on Krysten, he admitted that those were problems with himself, flaws within himself, and that he wasn't opening himself up. But Krysten has never admitted to her being her being insecure. She still walks around as if she's a secure person, and all her insecurities came from Mitch. The one thing I can say about Mitch is he's not blaming Krysten for his flaws. But you know what Krysten does? She blames Mitch for all her flaws. That's why I say the person who's actually going to grow from this more is going to be Mitch, because Krysten still thinks she ain't got no work to do. She really does. She still thinks it's a Mitch problem. She doesn't realize that Krysten got a problem too. You know, of all the couples, these two were on an upswing. All these other couples, they were on the downswing. Nate and Stasha went from going good to going bad. Lindy and Miguel went from going good to going bad. But of all the couples, Mitch and Krysten were the opposite. They started off real bad, but they were progressing. And I think what happened was Mitch never progressed to the level Krysten wanted. And remember, she gave that tough girl ultimatum, which is what Krysten does. She talks tough, but she never follows through with her tough talk. And she talked tough to Mitch. And you know what Mitch did? Mitch called her on the bluff and said, you know what? You're right. You deserve better. You deserve a man who's all in. And I know I can't give it to you. So I'm going to say no on decision day. And he said no. Mitch says, you know what? He knows he's blunt to the point, and he takes accountability for the things he says. But he says, I also think that she overreacts. She only overreacts in public. Behind the closed doors, she doesn't overreact any much. She overreacts in public because what Krysten always wants is public recognition and public praise. That's what she's always setting herself up for Mitch to have these big, elaborate things to say to her in the public. That is what is most important to her. And that is why she said no as well, because she knew that Mitch wasn't going to give her this elaborate, I love you, fall on his knees and worship the ground she was on. And she says, I need a public praise. I deserve more. She should have stuck with the no. She should have stuck with the no, but she couldn't stick with the no, not at all. Because just like Alexis says, she's consistent, but she's inconsistent. Just like she says, she's logical, but illogical. This is Krysten. Krysten is inconsistent and she's illogical too. That no wonder they besties. I mean to tell you, Mitch's letdown speech, his no speech, it was beautiful. It was, I'm telling you, I was listening to Mitch and I was applauding Mitch. Even Pastor Cal had to applaud Mitch. And you know, when Pastor Cal complimented Mitch on everything he said, you know, Krysten was mad because Krysten loves the praise for herself. She loves the praise for herself. And then next thing you know, Krysten sets Mitch up to look bad in public. I've been telling you guys this from the beginning, that Krysten likes to be the one that looks good. So when they walk away from this decision day and they both say no, even Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper said that's the most amicable divorce I've ever seen. Mitch looked good, right? Everybody was like, wow, he said no, but he did it very well, very eloquently. He didn't put her down. He just told her that she deserved more. You know that Krysten wasn't going to be satisfied with that. You knew that Krysten wasn't going to be satisfied with him walking away looking good in some people's eyes. Krysten says, I'm going to have to set this man up to look bad. And you know who I'm going to get to do the dirty work? Alexis. See, what Krysten does is when she wants Mitch to look bad, she calls in the heavyweight, which is Alexis. Let me call Alexis in to do my dirty work, because Mitch is walking around here looking good in other people's eyes. And I'm going to need for him to look bad. so that I can look like the victim and people can look around at me and talk to me and tell me how patient and understanding I am. I'm going to need to set up a scenario where once we get back in public, I'm going to come up with something to make Mitch look bad. And I'm going to make a Mitch look like he's dogging me out and rejecting me. And I'm the one offering my love to him. This was a setup. It was so ridiculous. And this is what Krysten has done. It was what she did with that sister on the phone when he told that sister, hey, cannot wear no makeup. It's the same sort of setup. And they use the same characters. Alexis. And once again, it blew up in her face. Once again, they tried to pressure a Mitch in public, just like Dr. Pepper did that time. Is she attractive? Is she beautiful? He's like, I said what I said. And they didn't like it. Mitch said that time, I don't know why you're coming down my throat. I said what I said and I meant it. And now here you have this little after all the decisions. You have here come Krysten talking about, well, I'm gonna keep the door ajar, and if I'm gonna keep the door ajar, and if Mitch wants to walk in and come in and be my husband, he can come on in. And Mitch is like, what? We just said no 12 hours ago. Why are you bringing this up? Why is this coming up? Mitch looked confused the same way he looked confused when they start talking about that sister, saying, where is this coming from? Because we just had a whole nother discussion. And this is what Krysten does. Krysten has discussions behind closed doors, and then she has different ones in public. And now all of a sudden, Mitch looks like the asshole because he has to sit up here and reject Krysten again in public. I just rejected you in private with Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. But now you want me to do it in public so I can look bad again, and I can look like the bad guy, and you can look like the victim, Krysten? Hell no. I would have cussed her out if I was Mitch. I sure would have. Mitch was a better person than me, to be honest with you, because that was some game playing by Krysten. Some game playing. See, to you and I, Krysten looks dumb. She looks like like she's fawning all over Mitch. But Krysten didn't want Mitch. What Krysten wants to do is she wants to look good. She wants to look like the benevolent one. She wants to look like the Mother Teresa. And she is more than willing to look stupid in order to look like the Mother Teresa. Because there is no reason for her to have done what she did when Mitch was very clear in his decision. And he told us, and listen, I was very clear in my decision. I never told you I wanted to get a divorce and still be girlfriend and boyfriend. When they were back at that apartment, he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I was very clear in my decision. I didn't say no just so we can still keep hanging out and be boyfriend and girlfriend. No meant no, Krysten. No meant no. So why would you bring up in public what I told you in private? So what, I could look bad? Yeah, that's exactly why she did it, Mitch. So she could look like the innocent one. She could look like the victim, and you could continually look like the villain. That's what she wanted. I want to talk to this ex-fiance of Krysten's. I want his story, because she has presented this ex-fiance as the villain. I'm not believing that story anymore. Just like I don't believe the 3 proposals by Alexis, I don't believe the story of Krysten anymore with this ex-fiance leaving her at the altar. I don't believe it. And just like Alexis told Krysten, hey, when you leave the door open, is this like what happens to me when I just be waiting and nobody comes? So Alexis, you're not the hottest ticket in town? I guess Alexis is letting us know that she sits by the phone sometime and ain't nobody calling her. Well, all season long, Alexis was letting us know that she was the hottest ticket in town, that Justin couldn't let her out his sight, because if he let her out his sight, someone was going to snap her up. Now she letting us know that she sits by the phone and waits for people and nobody never calls her. I'm telling you, Alexis and Krysten have 2 personalities, public persona, a private persona. Let me tell you, Mitch is so done with Krysten. He's like, I'm so done with this. Leave me alone. Mitch was like, leave me alone. But Krysten couldn't stop. She was like, hey, I'm going camping. Can you watch Luna? Can you watch Luna for me? Mitch, don't watch Luna. Cut your ties. Go, because this girl is a hot mess. So just a few minutes ago in public, you talking about how he's trash and this how this man treats me, and I'm so happy to have a divorce. But then you turn around talking about, can you watch my dog? I don't like this. Who would have thought by the end of the season I would go from being Team Krysten to being Team Mitch? I didn't predict a lot of stuff this season. I was wrong about a lot of stuff. But let me tell you, I never thought that by the end of decision day, I'd be more Team Mitch than I'd be Team Krysten. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm Team Mitch because at least Mitch lived in his truth. He lived in who he really was. And Krysten flip-flopped all season long, showing us two different people all season long. And I've always told you guys, I love the truth. I don't care if it's a bullet to my head. I love the truth. I don't like when people present to me one thing here and one thing there. And that's what Krysten did to me and you all season long. So on this one, guess what? Good for you, Mitch. Tell Krysten, no, I can't keep Luna. I can't keep Luna. No. Find another babysitter. Find another babysitter. That's it, y'all. What do y'all think? Down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Did you see this coming? I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.